Welcome everyone to another video. Okay, so today we're going to have a test, a reading test actually, IELTS reading test, and look at my paper. So what I did is I printed out the answer sheet of IELTS. It is from IELTS reading answer sheet, IDP, Cambridge, British Council. So if you search it, you'll get it on Google, the PDF form, and then you can print it. If you don't get it, then I'm going to comment below. I'm going to give you the link, or I'm going to share the PDF to you. Okay, so I had a practice session in the lunch today. I answered 1 to 26. I mean, I already I've done the passage 1 and passage 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the passage 3. By the way, this is my first test. This is my first practice of IELTS reading. So I'm going to start from Cambridge 10, reading test number 4. Okay, so I'm going to start the last passage. Okay, so I set a timer on my computer of 20 minutes. I'm going to start this one, then I'm going to read the whole passage. Okay, so the passage topic is when evolution run backwards. Evolution is not supposed to run backwards, yet an increasing number of examples shows that it does that it can sometimes represent the future of a species. The description of any animals as an evolutionary throwback is controversial. For the better part of the century, most biologists have been reluctant to use those words, mindful of a principle of evolution that says evolution cannot run backwards. But as more and more examples come to light and modern genetics enters the scene, the principle is having to be rewritten. Not only are revolutionary throwbacks possible, they sometimes play an important role in the forward march of evolution. Is harder than the previous two, I think. Okay, I don't know, I'm not sure. The technical term of an evolutionary throwback is an atavism. Sorry, from the Latin atavus, meaning forefather. The word has ugly connotations thanks largely to the Caesar Lombroso, okay, a 19th century Italian medic who argued that criminals were born, not made, and could be identified by certain physical features that were throwbacks to a primitive subhuman state, while Lombroso was measuring criminals, a Belgian paleontologist. Okay, I read this one before, this term, paleontologist. I don't know, I forgot the meaning again. Okay, paleontologist. Okay, someone who studied fossil and the way getting information about the history of life on Earth. Okay, great. So Belgium paleontologist called Louis Dollo was studying fossil records and coming to the opposite conclusion. In 1890, he proposed that evolution was irreversible. Okay, that an organism is unable to return, even partially, to a previous stage already realized in the ranks of its ancestors. Do you know what's the meaning of ancestors? If you know, let me know in the comment box. Okay, early 20th century biologists came to a similar conclusion, though they qualified it in terms of probability, stating that there is no reason why evolution cannot run backwards. It is just very unlikely. And so the idea of irreversibility in evolution stuck and came to be known as Dollo's law. Okay, if Dollo's law is right, evatism should occur only very rarely, if at all. Yet, almost since the idea took root, exceptions have been cropping up. In 1999, for example, a humpback humpback whale, with a pair of leg-like appendages over a meter long, complete with a full set of limb bones, was caught off Vancouver Island in Canada. Explorer Roy Champman Andrews argued at the time that the whale must be throwback to a land-living ancestor. I can't see no other explanation, he wrote in 1921. Since then, so many other examples have been discovered that it no longer makes sense to say that evolution is as good as irreversible. Okay, and these poses a puzzle. How can characteristics that disappeared millions of years ago suddenly reappear? In 1994, Rudolf Raff and colleagues at Indiana University in the USA decided to use genetics to put a number on the probability of evolution going into reverse. They reasoned that while some evolutionary changes involve the loss of genes and are therefore irreversible, others may be the results of gene being switched off. If these silent genes are somehow switched back on, they argued, long lost traits could reappear. Okay, Rapp's team went on to calculate the likelihood of it happening. Silent genes accumulate random mutations. They reasoned, eventually rendering them useless. So how long can a gene survive in a species if it is no longer used? The team calculated that there is a good chance of silent genes surviving for up to 6 million years in at least a few individuals. Okay, guys, do you know the meaning of few and a few? I have a source. Watch it out. Okay, few means a small number. I mean, a small number of people, few. But a few, that means quite a pretty number of people, So if few is kind of negative, a few is kind of positive. So if you, for example, I have a few friends. So I have a couple of friends, but I have few friends. That means I don't have friends almost, So that's something like that. Okay, so a few individuals in population, a few, some people, that some might survive as long as 10 million years. In other words, throwback are possible, but only to the relatively recent evolution in past. As a possible example, the team pointed the mole salamanders of Mexico and California. Like most amphibians, these begin life in a juvenile tadpole state. They metamorphose into the adult form, except for one species, the axolotl, which famously lives its entire life as a juvenile. The simplest explanation for this is that the axolotl lineage alone lost the ability to metamorphose, while others retained it. From a detailed analysis of salamanders' family tree, however, it is clear that the other lineages evolved from an ancestor that itself had lost the ability to metamorphose. In other words, metamorphosis in mole salamanders is an atavism. The salamander example fits with Raff's 10 million years time frame. Oh my god, it's really difficult, isn't it? I don't even understand some words. But I don't have that much time. More recently, however, examples have been reported that they break the time limit, suggesting the silent genes may not be the whole story. In a paper published last year, biologist Gunther Wagner of Yale University reported some work on the evolutionary history of a group of South America lizard called Basia Many of these have minuscule limbs. Some look more like snake than lizard, and a few have completely lost the toes on their hind limbs. Other species, however, sport up to 4 toes on their hind legs. The simplest explanation is that the toed lineages never lost their toes, but Wagner begs to differ. According to his analysis of the Basia family tree, the toad species re-evolved toes from toesless ancestor. And what is more, digit loss and gain has occurred on more than one occasion over 10 million of years. So what's going on? One possibility is that these traits are lost and then simply reappear in much the same way that similar structure can independently arise in unrelated species such as the dorsal fins of sharks and killer whales. Another more intriguing possibility is that the genetic information needed to make toes somehow survived for tens or perhaps hundreds of millions of years later and reactivated. I lost my attention. I'm sorry for that. It's tough. It's really tough to read. Oh my God. Okay, that's why I'm trying to, improve this habit of mine. Okay, but if silent genes degrade within 6 to million years, how can long lost traits be reactivated over longer time scales? The answer may lie in the womb. Early embryos of many species develop ancestral features. Snake embryos, for example, sprout hind limbs, but later in development of these features disappear thanks to the development programs that say lost leg if for any reason this does not happen. The ancestral feature may not disappear, leading to an avidism. I'm sorry for that. Okay, let's go for some questions. There are a couple of questions. Choose the correct A, B, C, or D. Write correct later in the box 27 to 31. And your answer sheet. Okay, 27. When discussing the theory developed by Louis Dollo, the writer says that it was immediately referred to as Dollo's law. It supported the possibility evolutionary throwbacks. It was modified by biologists the early 20th century. It was based on many years of research. Okay, Louis Dollo, we read earlier. Okay, Louis Dollo. Where is Louis Dollo? Yes, Louis Dollo. So, let me read that again. While Lombroso was a protagonist, Louis Dollo was studying physical experiment. Biologists came to a similar conclusion through qualified probability, stating that there is no reason why evolution can run through X. It's unlikely. The idea reversely evolution is stuck and came to know Dollo. Okay, so for option, it was immediately referred as Dollo law. No. It supported the possibility of evolutionary throwbacks. Yes. It was modified by the biologist 20th. No. It was based on many of years. Okay, so I think this should be B. Okay, 27 B. The next one. I have 7 more minutes to go. Okay, the humpback whale caught off Vancouver Island is mentioned because of the exceptional size of its body. No. The way it exemplifies Dollo law. No. The amount of local controversy it caused. No. The reason given is unnatural features. Okay, it should be D. I can guess it from here. 28 D. 29. What is said silent gene? There is number vary according to the species. Rough disagreed with the use of term. They could lead to the re-emerge of certain characteristics. They can have unlimited lifespan. Okay, it should be 20. Okay, it should be C. 29 C. The writer mentioned the mole salamander because it exemplifies what happens in the development of most amphibians. It suggests that the Ruff's theory is correct. It has lost their weight, gained and more Then one ability is ancestors have become subject of extensive research. Okay, I don't know the answer of it, so I'm gonna choose 30 for D. Okay, 31. Which is the following does Wagner claim? Okay, Wagner. Let me find out the Wagner. Where is Wagner? Wagner. Okay, yeah, here we go. Morris and Dia, however, example have been reported that break time limit, suggesting that silent genes may not be whole story. Okay, in a paper published last year, biologist Gunter Wagner of Yale University reported some work that evolutionary history of a group of South American lizard called Basia. Many of these have maculus, look like a snake hatchet. Okay, something that lineage. Okay, so let me look at the question again. Remember, Basia lizard family have lost and regained their okay. Evidence shows that the evolution of Basia lizard due to the environment is recent to South American lizard supports rough acceleration. These findings will apply to the species South American lizard. I think the answer will be A. Okay, let me go for it. From 32 to 36. Okay, so complete each sentence with the correct ending. Okay, this one is tough. For a long time, biologists rejected opposing views. I don't know, guys. Okay, that's it for today. I'm kind of bored answering this kind of question. Sorry. See you later. Bye-bye.